I don't need you to be a tiger mom. My name is Mike Bowen, and I am a data engineer, and I've been in the business of information technology for 30 years plus. And I'm reaching back to work with parents and students, universities, uh, local schools, nonprofit organizations, and industry to revitalize a set of networks that never existed before, that need to exist. And what I want to do is I want to emphasize STEAM. And I have a bias against the current methodologies of inclusion because I think they're race based. And I don't think that's the best way to reach people because, generally speaking, race based initiatives decide to have different approaches to different races for different reasons. Engineering doesn't work that way. There are standards and there are well understood best practices for methodologies that work, that are proven. If they didn't work, then electricity wouldn't work, the water wouldn't work. So we want something that works. And I want also to take a bottom up as well as a top down. I want some kind of networking that is approachable by parents. And my model, for the time being, to explain what I mean, is Pee Wee football. Pee Wee football is available to just about every levels of parents, economically speaking. And we don't want our educational system to be a legacy only system. We want it to be approachable, we want it to be open, we want there to be plenty of resources that are not disparate and spread all over the place. You know, if a new song comes on Spotify, all the kids will know where to find it. If a new game comes on PlayStation, all the kids will know how to find it. If a new kind of job happens in the industry, kids who are studying algebra have no idea where that is. And if you're in Pee Wee League football, you already know who your heroes are in the big game. So what we're trying to do is get local heroes in the bigger games at all levels so that STEAM becomes much more approachable than it is. Right now, people feel like they get it or they don't get it, and we don't have enough interest in teaching, and teaching is not remunerative enough right now for someone like me who comes out of industry to go to a neglected high school. So there's a couple solutions that I think we should be out there. But right now, I'm the grassroots, I'm shaking the trees, and I'm trying to find out where resources are. Now, I happen to have been a very active networker when I was a student because I was a continuing student. I dropped out of USC electrical engineering program as a freshman. I worked for 4 years, and then I did a computer science program at Cal State 4 years later. So in that gap, I needed to refresh my math skills. There was Dr. Ray Landis, who started the minority engineering program, and I took 2 classes for that, which extended my degree program. But in 1 year, I learned all the math that I could have learned in high school in 3. And it was because we had a very good degreed professional mathematician who was teaching it, and it was the first mathematician that I had, even though I went to a fancy prep school. So the dearth of math and science and engineering and art instruction is very difficult to deal with here in Los Angeles and Southern California. And I aim to see what I can do with private and public partnerships. Now, I sent my kids to Kumon because the Kumon method works for math. And although my kids had different learning abilities with math, they did have that leg up. And that was because I lived in the San Gabriel Valley and I was close to parents that knew about Kumon. And so it was easy to enroll my kids in those. But there are other things that you could do in sports and in music that are not so easy. For example, I raised my kids in a beach community, which is one of the beach volleyball capitals of the world. And if you want to compete at the high school level in Southern California in volleyball, one of our great sports, then you can't just do it with the team. You have to be in a club, and club costs money. And of all the extracurricular activities I could get my kids in that I could afford, even as an affluent parent, I couldn't also afford club as well as scouts as well as community theater. But my kids did have middle school where they learned how to read music. So learning how to read music in middle school is a huge advantage, and it activates a different kind of part of the brain. And then, of course, then the kids don't grow up listening to boom, boom, clack. So there's a lot of progress that can be made in this, but it has to be simple for parents to engage, as simple as after-school sports like Pee Wee League. And then when you have that active and it's connected to the local universities and local colleges and local nonprofits and local parents organizations, then you have a culture that can connect, even if it's just a meetup once a month. There's this opportunity for underserved communities and for first-time collegiate students. And quite frankly, there's trade level information technology stuff and engineering that we can engage as well. So from the top down, I think it's a great idea, for example, for universities to sponsor charter schools, especially a large public university system like UC system or CUNY system in New York. I'm sure there's others, and they have very large endowments. And what we don't want is we don't want muddling the methodologies in the middle to make up for a gap. We want to be able to start kids young, not necessarily all to go to Ivy League, all to go to fast track, but just for there to be a consistent culture of this that kids are in touch with so that they can see heroes up the line, so they can see coaches, so they can see their friends and their associates get involved in these kinds of things. All the kids know that there are AP classes, but all the kids don't know about Mathnasium or math tutoring or Kumon. All the kids don't know about. I'm trying to think of there was a clay and pottery school class available to my kids. Color Me Mine was the name of it, and these are available to affluent parents. But to be a Color Me Mine instructor doesn't take a master's degree or MFA. So again, there are lots of things that we can do, and right now the start is shaking the trees, see what falls down, walking over the grassroots and see what trips me up. And that's finding out people who are interested in this, people who can fund this, people who can work to make this something that Americans can be proud of, and not exclusionary or race-based, and not also not elitist, not tech bro stuff that only caters to the best of the best. We want not just selection effects, we want treatment effects, and we want a solid, competent, first-class education for all of our students. But even if they don't complete the most rigorous studies at the best universities, just like most of us who play sports can be weekend warriors, and there's a culture there. It's not, oh, those are the geeky people and they're completely a different kind than us. And that's the bad thing that we have now. STEM seems to be a world apart, and it should be central in the things that we know we can do here in America. So that's my introduction to this, and I'm saying you don't have to be a tiger mom, and we want it to be so that it is relatively easy for you to network among parents, among other students, among high schools, middle schools, even elementary schools, with the local colleges and universities and JCs and trade schools, and with local employers, so and national employers as well. So we want it to be a brain trust for geniuses and a step up for kids who are starting up without prior experience. That's what we can do if we work together. I'm Michael David Cobb Bowen, and that's my idea. Thank you.